Hey, welcome to the weekly wrap up. Now we've had a bit of a fun red day today. Markets all like absolutely tanking, but if you were getting started in crypto, you would have known that because I've been telling you all weekend that it's heading down to those pivots. Only thing was BTC decided to jump a couple of pivots and just go straight past those. So ETH is sitting at the pivot. Let's jump in because that's what you guys are all here for. Now, if you want some requests, I've got a few already from this morning when I sent that out on X. And if you're getting started in crypto, jump on the live here and let me know if you want me to look at any charts. If not, forever hold your peace and I'll just do what I want here. So, because that's what I do. Now, apparently, according to my plumber that needed to come around today, these potentially could be OnlyFans, but if you're get to the end of it and it's just charts, I'm sorry to disappoint you. So let's go. Now I put on my nerdy glasses so I can see, and we will get you some charts. Now, BTC is likely, now this, when we go back down, so this is a 3-day, looking at this chart, support is around 104 to 102, depending on where we land. Now that will take until the end of the month. Now, coming towards this end of the month, we have got a whole heap of futures releasing. So we have got annual futures releasing. So from September to September, we have 6 monthly, we have 3 monthly, and we have bi-monthly and weekly. So heaps and heaps of futures releasing. It's not only ETFs that we need to look at because old school traders still trade futures. So there's a lot of those CBE futures about to release in only about a week. I think they release around the 28th or the 29th. Some of the bigger positions may take a little bit longer because sometimes they are renegotiated and they roll over. Otherwise, they come into the market by the 1st. So that could be quite explosive. It could take us down to that 102 to 104 mark, or it could be we get there first and then we bounce. So if you watched last week on the weekly wrap up, we were talking about the FOMC and how if we got a 50.5 or a 50 basis point cut, then we were going up straight away. If we only got that 25 basis point, which we got, it was priced in because we went up first. So that would be taking profits, coming back down, reassessing before the end of the year run. Now, I still think that's happening, but we've got some levels to sort of test first before we do that. We've got a lot of sell pressure on BTC, so we're looking at the stock indicator to come down to that sort of 12 to 15 mark, and then we should see some movement. Now, when we go to the BLX, we're still sitting in that range, in this red range. So potentially we could be coming up to that 120K mark. Now, that's going to be a pivotal region when we get to that point, because that could be the difference between whether we go down to 88 or up to a new target. So that is still happening as well. So, and that all depends on where we land here. So 102 to 104 is that target. BTC dominance has hit a resistance. It could have one more test of that. So that is around the 59, sort of 60-ish mark. And then it should come back down. We don't want that to break through. That breaks through, alts are going to bleed. Like literally, there's going to be a bloodbath. So, and the reason that's probably happening is because all of you guys got super bullish, like super, super bullish. And all I've seen is it's alt season. It's, the others charts are, looking like it's going to be alt season. I'm thinking it's got a wave more to go. So we're probably not there yet. And a lot of the alts we've been looking at over the last month have had two patterns. They've had an A, B, C and a potential DE. In the last week before the FOMC, they got to that DE pattern. So that is pivotal as well with this chart here, USDT. So the dominance chart cannot cross 4.7. So that happens, then the market is literally going to be bleeding. So we don't want that to happen. So few factors that are playing at the moment that we need to be watching. Obviously those levels on BTC. Now, if we jump back to BTC just quickly, I'm going to drop down to a 4-hour chart because we did have a gap and it looks like they've cleaned it up, which sometimes happens. So we had a gap in this region. Let me see if they've still got it on the, yeah, we've still got a gap. So we've got a gap at 113, 114-ish down to around 113. Gaps always get filled. So this is probably coming back down, doing a test of this channel support again, and then we'll fill that gap. So just be careful if you're short, gaps get filled. I'm not like huge on gaps on the CBE on the futures charts being filled because they're not actual Bitcoin, they're paper sort of trades. But when they're on an actual Bitcoin chart, this is a spot trading chart, so they get filled. So just be aware. Now we've got lots of people in the chat today. So hi Robbie, hi Sadi, hi Arjun, hi Francisco, and hi KJ. And I will get to most of those alts towards the end and keep them coming if they are there as well. Yeah, so just be aware of that. We can see that as I've been talking, it's just gone green. So I do think we're going to come down a little bit lower on this chart before we do head up and fill that gap though. Now let's go to the total. So the total coming back down, a lot of these charts are going to be coming back down and retesting supports. So this is where we are like priced in. This wasn't a D wave, so it could potentially be a WXY pattern, which is going to look WXY. And I'd say that'll come down lower than this point here. So we're probably coming back down to that 0.5 around this region to retest that breakout zone. So this is going to take a couple of days. This is around sort of the 25th, 26th of September, maybe even towards the end of the month, once we get close to those futures releasing. So like I was saying, they release on the 28th, at worst case scenario around the 1st. So just keep an eye on those. DXY bounced today, so that's another reason BTC wasn't a huge bounce, but we did hit that level, that yellow level, 96.53, broke down past that and then just went, whoa, okay, hang on, that's a support. I need to bounce here. Now, I don't think this is going up from there, so that's another reason. I do think it's still going back down to that 94. We haven't quite got there yet, but if we don't see a rate cut in October, it's probably going to hit that 94. And if we don't see a rate cut in October, BTC is going to like completely change pattern. So, and we probably won't get that new high that we've all been waiting for. And it will be priced in towards the end of the year where we get some movement. So let me take this up to a higher time frame. Go to a 12-hour. So we can kind of have a look where we are. Now, if this is our high of 124, and we're coming up and we're doing that pattern that I was showing you on the BLX, we are currently in an ABC. So what that looks like is we've got A, complete, coming back down to fill our B wave, and then heading back up to this region to test maybe won't get a new all-time high. Everyone's going to get super bullish, and then there's no rate cut, and it goes straight down. So, and that will be savage, absolutely savage. So it's really important that we sort of, you know, are really cautious in this area, especially when this pattern is in play, because that may be, I don't think it is, it's the wrong time of the cycle for that to be the top. It's probably like if we go back to the BLX and we have a look and we've got, you know, a couple of different tops and we go, okay, you know, 5th of April was our top, and everyone was like, oh, okay, at this point we're going back down. And it's like, well, no, it's the wrong part of the cycle to be going back down at that point. So when we look at, if you have a look at my trading view post, the 8-year and the 4-year cycle converge on both Bitcoin and on traditionals. And that happens in December of this year. So that was the same as 2017. So that's the 8-year cycle. And then we've got, so Bitcoin works in a 4-year cycle. So on the 4-year cycle, we have a top where we're looking at sort of October, November. And then we have a top previously where we're looking at December. So we're in the December top at this point. So that's how that 4-year cycle works. So being as we're kind of there, so if we're in this red pattern, we are in the ABC at the moment of this. So this B wave now needs to bounce, and we now assess where we are within this market. And once we get to this C wave, if we can break that all-time high, this is no longer a C wave, it's then an impulse. And we kind of assess where we are after that by returning to the levels. So Elliott Wave says, basically, we know where we are by, you know, hindsight. So if we're coming back down and we're sort of hitting that 117 mark, which is this 5 waves here, that then becomes a wave 1 potentially. So that would look like something, and this is the kickoff basically to this run coming up into October, November, December. So we would have our second wave, we'd come up, we would potentially, it could even go higher. This could be, this is going into a 3 of 3. So that's quite an explosive wave. We would need to hold that 117,944, and then we're continuing up. So this 3, depending on where we land, should be higher than this pattern here at 124. And then our 4 must hold that 117. And then that 5th wave would finish somewhere in December. So likely we've got a target here, 147 to that sort of 157-ish. I don't think we're seeing like the 250K to 1 million targets that I've seen thrown around earlier in the year. And we just don't have the liquidity coming into the market at the moment to do that. That can always change, and all of a sudden every country in the world decides they're buying BTC, and all of a sudden, whoops, we are off and running. So, you know, stranger things have happened, but I don't think that is happening at the moment. If we have a look at the stock indicator, we are definitely bouncing here. So this is our A, our B, and our C, regardless of whether it's a second wave or if it's a B wave, it's still a corrective wave, and that's normally an ABC. So we should see a bounce here soon. We are still within that channel, which is a really strong sign as well, which it makes me believe we could actually be in that second wave. And this is our leading diagonal, and we're completing that, and we're taking off for this third. So, but we don't know that until we get to this point here, whether we're in a corrective phase still and going down, or we're heading up for that 3. So either way, once this either second or this B wave is complete, this is super bullish. This is going to be when we're going to get the tether prints again. We're going to be running hard. So this week wasn't the week though. I did think we were getting a smaller like correction, but obviously somebody decided, no, we're just going to have an all-out correction. So that's totally fine, because the harder it falls, the harder it bounces, and we should get some nice movement. For ETH, we do look like we're coming down. We've got a pivot here, but I do think we're going to retest this support. So this support is sitting at about 3,900. And if this breaks down, we're coming back down to about $3,000. So we do have our wave one high sitting at 2,855. So just be aware of that with ETH, because this was an epic run for ETH. Now, if we're looking at this as a corrective wave, oops, I don't want that one. I want some fibs. We want this to be really bullish. So when we're coming up, the 382 is sitting at that support. So that's a really strong sign. The golden zone is sitting at the next support. So that's another strong sign. So they're kind of where we're going to be pulling into those regions. So if this breaks down, highly likely we're going to that golden zone. So just be aware of that. ETH BTC also broke down. It's still trying and attempting to get back up, but that comes down. We're probably going to about 0.3 around this region. We've still got lots of sell pressure on ETH at the moment. So yeah, it's looking a bit funky out there and a bit sort of like all over the shop. But like I did tell you guys last week, if it was only 25 basis points, it was priced in. And, you know, while I didn't think the correction would go splat like it did death by 1,000 stop losses, yeah, it still is doing that. So the market just humbles people, and you know, you're grateful you've got a stop loss, you've protected your capital, and next trade will be better. So, and that's pretty much how it works. As long as you are using money management, you're at least 50% profitable is all you need to be. As long as you are using money management and your stop losses are smaller than your profits that you're taking, 50% of the trades need to be profitable. And that's it. That's it. So learn how to create a strategy that you're using within your trades. And, you know, don't stress about stop losses. Don't stress about that. Just stress about having the correct money management, you know, OCOs and that sort of stuff in place. So an OCO is one cancels the other. So if you've got a stop loss and a sell order, depending on which way it goes, if it hits the stop loss, that clears the sell order. If it hits the sell order, it triggers that, takes a profit and clears the stop loss. So that is the best way if you're in a really good exchange. Most exchanges have that now. It is something that has been really implemented over the years, especially I think most of the exchanges did that in 2021. We had a group of traders that got together and really hammered them about it. So that is happening. Yeah, so and while we're here, OKX is sponsoring us. Let me get their big, massive banner. Yay! So thank you to OKX for sponsoring us. Now, if you would like to join them, use my link 1890266, and that will get you some trading discounts and some bonuses when you join. So make sure you check them out. And before we get into alts, I am just going to play you the GSIC video just so you can go, okay, I must be in GSIC, because I would have known about all of this. I would have known Bitcoin was having a bit of a dip today, even though it went a bit deeper than what we thought. But you would have known that Bitcoin was happening and doing that. So I think this might be sort of near the bottom, and getting there, but let's see how we go. Quickly jump to this break, and then I'll have some alts for you. back. Oh yeah, I got to show you. Hang on, wait. Check out my pink guitar. This new Fender, had it made. So it's really awesome because the thing is, I've been learning guitar or electric guitar, and like this is a complete side note, but my hands, I've got really tiny hands, and I've got I forget what they call it, but anyway, I should know these things because they tell me every week. But it's literally, I've got a child size one. And my hand, I can like literally play all the strings now. So I'm very, very excited about that. Yeah, but you guys probably don't care about my pink guitar. It's really awesome. And I will get into some alts right now for you. Let's go back. There we go. Hey. All right. Chainlink. So we jumped on the pivot. So if you've been watching this for the last month, Chainlink has been so incredibly boring. And we've hit the pivot. Ideally, it wants to hold here and bounce and then continue up higher. So that's a really nice chart, has moved perfectly. Now, if this is not playing with this pattern and it's not liking us, it may go down to this. So potentially this is the wave one of this three. And this is so 1, 2, 3. Now, if it's playing with this wave one, it's got to go down to 18.17. So just be aware of that. Depending on like this little bit here is like a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. I don't think it is, but stranger things have happened. We've got really truncated waves on some of these patterns. So just be aware of that. 18 could be the low on Chainlink. Solana, I think, is coming back to the support. First support is at 196. Next support is at 177. So if this is also like a corrective pattern, we'll come back down much, much further than that. But if this is a wave completion, then we are likely coming back. So this region here, this lower one is the golden zone. This upper one, depending on where it lands, it might land around here, take a few days and travel sideways, 206. So depending on how bullish the market wants to be is where we're going to land on that. Pyth, this was a signal, managed to hit a couple of targets at Getting Started in Crypto, then it decided to melt down today. So you would have seen a whole, if you follow that, whole heap of closed with profit coming off. So we always like close with profit because hopefully whoever's trading this took profit at Getting Started in Crypto. Now we're coming back down to the pivot. So we've had a bounce. Pivot on this one is 13.8. Should bounce here on the 3 hour. It is really super low on the RSI. On the 4 hour, the same. We're starting to get into those lower regions. So I would expect a bounce happening on a lot of alts over the next probably few hours. Pengu, as you can see, again, hit 2 targets. So potentially people in the group could have had 21% profit. If not, they hit a stop loss. So because I would, when trading, I also recommend when they're trading, if they go up to the second level, that they move their stop loss up. So at the very worst, they would have got 1 target. So let's remove all of that and see where we're going. So we're coming back down. We've got another like support region that we're likely retesting. It doesn't want to move for me. So yeah, so if this is still corrective, it will come back down and retest that sort of 26 range. Indicators again on the 4 hour are indicating there's a bounce here. So the pivot coming up is 0.37, can go as high as that. First pivot down here is 0.34. So that is 2 regions to watch. So I don't want that fat. And dashed. So these are just Elliott wave breaks. So they're two regions to watch on Pengu. So might come up, touch that, and then come back down. ZBCN. So this one looks to be maybe one more wave. Let me have a look. We still look a bit corrective on this one. We're sitting in the golden zone. So that's actually a nice correction for this wave up. Now, if this is a deeper correction, so if this is like our A, this is our B, then we're going to come back down. We're probably going to retest much lower around the 23. We could do a double bottom or just pierce that a slightly lower. But this could definitely bounce here. Pivot on this one is sitting at about 51. So that is where it needs to break for this to be more bullish than what it currently is now. And it just hasn't done that so far. SWE, this is one we've been watching. It just the tip broke out. It's coming back down. So this is our A, our B, our C, our D, and our E wave almost complete. So that was our multiple of patterns that we were watching over the last few weeks. So we normally always buy the C because worst case scenario, you get the D wave and it comes back down. You've moved your stop loss up a little bit. And that's why in getting started in crypto, we've had two targets and then it's come back down because in this region, you have multiple patterns. So this is our D and our E pattern. And if it's not an E pattern and it's actually impulsive, it will hold the low. So the low is 3.11. If that region is held, there's a high possibility that this could be impulsive, and that's going to be quite explosive. So there's a resistance for this one at 4.5, and then another one on this channel resistance at 5.5. So I feel like I'm doing the weather when I say that. So welcome to Lisa's crypto weather. It's going to be raining. Anyway, so we've got the two patterns on say again. So we've come back down for that E wave. Now, again, if this is still corrective and this is an ABC here, and we're coming back down, this region is going to break down. So it's come back down, tested that support, needs to hold 27 for this to continue to be bullish. It's still looking good. H bar, it's still very much in pattern. It just needs to hold. So an X, or if this is an X or a ABC, it just needs to hold the low, which so far it has done. Breaking down in that region changes this from an ABC to an ABCDE, a falling wedge. So that would be our falling wedge pattern. We'd probably come back down to that golden zone, but we haven't broken that pivot yet. So this is still in this pattern at the moment. RSR. Now, so this one looks, I would say, bearish. Let's have a look where we are in this pattern. Yeah, it kind of looks bear flaggy, to be honest. Stranger things have happened, and this could turn around and be a leading diagonal. Doesn't look like it. I'd say more than likely it's breaking down. That's quite a big movement. So with that, we normally get quite a big correction. Let me just remove this other one and see where we are. So we've come back down to the 0.9. So we probably get to that region again. If this kind of looks like a bear flag, I'm not going to lie. So Holding this support is the only thing that's going to save this, and then it's then got to break out at 94. So if there's no breakout at 94, it's coming back down to 0.9, which is 42.0042. So that's the reality of RSR right now. Now, I had this request on X, and this, I'm just like, I get lots of requests in at getting started in crypto for charts that look like this or have just landed on exchanges and they literally look like one green candle. And then I'm like, well, what do you want me to do with this? There's literally nothing there there's no pattern memory. There's no defined pattern. It's literally like, how I explain this in the group is when a coin goes onto an exchange, whoever, like this is Spark, so when they are listed on this exchange, for this one, where is it? It's Binance. So Binance listing fee might be $500,000. So they've listed, a lot of that goes into liquidity, goes into injecting liquidity into the coin. All of you guys go, whoa, it's going up. Wow, I must buy this. It's green. It's going up. So you all buy in. And then at this point here, they're like, whoa, all of these indicators are really, really oversold. So this is like up at like 92, 93. And, you know, look at that. Whoa. And then everyone that's bought into this at seed level, so these are the early investors, they're all like, okay, we've got enough profit now. Binance have gone, okay, we've recouped our $500,000 that we've injected in liquidity, and they sell it. And that's when you guys get trapped. So that's probably what this is. If it's a really good project, hopefully it gets the backing of, you know, community and that sort of thing, and you all rush in and you save it. But if we're looking at the daily chart, this is still going down. So if we're just going to be looking at indicators at this point, this is the point where it was going down. So we don't have a lot of indicators on this like at the moment because there's honestly not enough movement. We throw it down to the lower levels. We can see that this threw a buy signal on the 4 hour at this point. So hopefully whoever got into this super early bought at this point, they would have got some nice profits, even if it was, you know, sort of coming back down at this point. So using indicators is another really strong way of, you know, getting some profit. So if you bought on the cross on the 100, 200 MA, you sold on the cross going down, you made 140%. So that's a really strong indicator. The other way is when it hasn't crossed over yet, it's still going down. But if it was on an exchange where it can be shorted, you would have shorted at this point and you would be about 48% or more if, you know, you're sort of, it's going well for that. And it hasn't crossed over yet, so you're not going to flip that trade as yet. So just using indicators could be the way to trade these if they've got enough data. If not, you're just gambling. So just be super, super careful with those. Now, M87 and Sadi, I will get to your ENA. I just saw that. Now, this is another one. It's like, okay, we don't really have a pattern. Now, when charts do drop into the market, so if we're looking at Spark, they come in, they pump up, they go down. So that's essentially, this one's just gone down, then it pumped up, quite random. So let's see if we've got another M87. No, it's done the same. Oh, it's pumped up a little bit here. So they might have paid more for the listing on Bitmart than they did on the other one. But essentially, there's not a pattern that's broken the low. So it's still corrective. Really, every time it's got to here, it's continued to bleed. So it's not even, you can use the indicators. We saw a bit of a bounce here, but yeah, there's not a lot you can do with a chart like that. And, you know, this is literally where we get to pure gambling. So we've got, okay, this is our low, and we can go, okay, it might get to the low and it might bounce. So that's worth a gamble at that point. But if everyone's panic selling because it's still going down, you're going to lose your money. So, yeah. And this is what I try to drum into people, like all the time. Like, you are losing your money. Learn a strategy or follow my signals and, you know, learn the strategies that we use in there. And I've seen a question. I'll show you how the signals work in a minute. I'm going to get to E and A after I've just given you all a lecture on what not to do. So don't trade these. Like, you know, if you're a gambler, yeah, jump in. But know that you're just going to get sold on. Literally, people are just going to, like, all the seed investors, they're loving you guys buying this because they're just selling it. And as you just keep buying it, and it's like, no, it's going to go up. It's like, no, it's not going to go up. There is like 50 bazillion coins. And it's like, yeah, there's just nothing that you can do with all of these. So this is our high. Now I'm going to jump this down because it looks like maybe. I'm going to jump it down even further. Very sideways. So we can count some waves. So if we look at Elliott wave, we've got a 1, a 2, a really extended 4 that just went all over the shop, and then a 5. We've got some sort of A, B, C in there. Okay. This is where it gets fun because there's a lot of waves in there. Where was our bottom? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. See, we're missing a wave. Oh no, hang on, that one broke out. Okay. I've got some weird levels on this, so hang on 2 secs. I'm just going to put some levels on E and A. So we have to have 5 waves in here. Yeah, we've got a truncated fifth. That's really annoying. So it's our third, our fourth, and our fifth. So we've got a lot of congestion in this wave. Then we've got A, B, C, D, E. Another ugly wave for this one, Sadi. So this one has a truncated wave in this region as well. So, and we've broken down. So we've then got, that then makes this extended correction. W, X, Y. Okay. That was our wave one that we were watching. And that's a failed wave. So could be a 1, 2, 3. I think that one's got a failed wave. So what that means, let's go up. So this is either, this last one is either a truncated wave or we've got a wave failure in at this one. So because we don't actually have enough waves and we've got some overlapping waves. So patterns that have overlapping waves are ending diagonals, could be that. But it sort of broke out of that diagonal, which is kind of random, which doesn't happen. Maybe everyone just got a touch too bullish and it broke out. But if that was, it would have held the low. So they normally hold where they, diagonals end where they began. So it's broken down. So which to me sees a wave failure. So I would say we're coming right back down at this point. Now, 0.5 is at this region here, which is sitting at around 54. If it continues to break down, I would say it's going to the 786, and that's the next point. Now it is going to, it's showing on the indicators that there's a bounce coming very soon. So I do see across the board, there's going to be a bounce on alts because they're all into oversold territory, especially when we're sort of looking at this. So, you know, at this point we're going, okay, 65's our going up, is our pivot going up. And then the next pivot after that one will be around 79. So 79 is going to be the break point where it goes, okay, now we need to break that 87 high. And if that doesn't break, normally it'll turn around at this 79 point and then it would come back down. So potentially, this could be going into a really, really like funky sort of looking ABC. That C could go back down to that 76, could sit at the 0.05. That looks like a better pattern. Like when I'm looking at what's kind of going on with everything and how it moves, it kind of has very erratic sort of movements. But this wave here appears to be a failure. So when we get a failure, we do get those really sort of huge break points. And that came on that pivot that we had previously on ENA. So to be aware, so when you're trading this, Sadi, watch that pivot at that 0.05. If that breaks, it's more than likely coming down to the 786, but on this 4-hour chart, it's showing that it's going to be bouncing very soon. When we go on to the daily, we can see that we've still got a little bit more room to move on this bearish, and we're still quite heavy on the sell pressure on the MACD. So now if this is just like the ugliest wave. So if this was how I was previously counting it, and we have a look at this region being our wave 1, and we just sort of pipped through here, that being our 3, and this being, so the 618 is looking good. When we sort of zoom out and we look at this on a daily, this is one of those charts where you go, okay, it's just kind of up, down, and no really huge pattern. But if this can confirm, like in here, coming back down, tight correction, coming up, that's a W pattern, which is super, super explosively bullish. So if this can hold this region around sort of the 0.5 to the 618 towards that sort of November to December, this is going to be super bullish. So this is what we want to watch with alts, because we're at that point where we're looking at alts going into alt season. We're not quite there yet. We're almost there. So this could be the slow turning point over the next week, especially if we get a huge lot of futures that are projected to come back into the market happening, and that either might flush us out or send us on a more bullish pattern. So this week is quite pivotal for these patterns to know where we're going for the next month and heading in towards December. So, and BTC is quite pivotal on that as well. So for those wanting to know how signals work, I am going to pull those up and show you all. If it wants to open. Okay. Let me put this over here so we can have a look. All right, so daily we get an update. And yeah, basically this is from a few days ago, I think. You don't want that stuff. Hang on, let me go. I'm in the back end at the moment, so okay. So let's go to my paid signals. All right, so we've got patterns. So this is 3 days ago. We get a update every day, but I've gone back a few days because we want to have a look. Now, a lot of these are going to be closed because obviously the market pulled back. We had a lot of stop losses reached. So this is, we have 2 different subscriptions you can do: TTM, which is 1 target, or you can do paid signals, which is numerous targets. So, and how they work is you're given a buy zone. You're given targets. Obviously, you can just go and copy those, and you've got that. And then you can paste that so into your exchange. So copy and paste. You can go, obviously, you can't go to the bot because it's a closed signal. I'm going to find you an open signal. Signal status, active. Okay, so Solana, we've got TTM neutral in the buy zone at the moment, 1 target. So this, for anyone watching, free signal for you guys, posted 4 hours ago in the buy zone. We've got a target of 244 on this bounce. We've come back down. Now you can go and have a look at the chart. If you're into that sort of thing, it'll open up with a new chart, and then it shows you the targets. Then obviously you can copy. It's on all of these exchanges. There are recommended exchanges, but this is how a signal works. So, and then you can press, if you're a bot member, you can press and it goes, you can set that to go automatically to trade, or you can set it as manual trade. So when we get a trade posted, you just click, yes, I would like to trade that one. If not, it will trade it automatically. It trades as per your settings. So if you want to sell everything at target 1, it'll sell at target 1. If this has got more targets and you're a paid signals member, it will then head to those extra targets. So depending on where you want, you can favorite that and it'll end up in your bookmark signals. And the stop loss is 209. So these are all programmed in, and you will get updates when it's in the buy zone, when it's at the target, or when it hits the stop loss. You can also follow these on Crypto Getting on X, and it will not tell you what we're trading, but you can follow that and sort of understand when we're hitting targets, when we're hitting stop losses, and how much profits we're making for the month. Every month we put out how much profit we're making, and that is available on our paid signals page, and you can go back through. We've got 4 years of data from here, and obviously I've had previous groups before this one. So you can have a look through all the profits that we have made, and you know how many have hit stop losses during that month. Now we have people that just go, oh my god, it's hit a stop loss. Losing money in trading is part of trading. So if somebody's telling you they don't lose money, they're lying, because losing money in trading is part of trading. And as I said at the top of this weekly wrap up, if you've got a strategy and you're at least 50% profitable and you are having more profits than your stop loss, you're going to be profitable overall for that. Say you're taking that over a month, that is going to be highly profitable for you. As you can see, we're, you know, not sort of in those ranges. We often have more targets than our stop losses. So it's always highly profitable if you're using our strategies. So yeah, so that's essentially how it works. We also have scalp signals. Now these are free, so head to the free scalp signals, follow the instructions, sign up with the exchange. It's Femex at the moment. It is changing very soon to WeX, so I would say to wait a week and then it will be WeX. And we've got some really super specials with that. And yeah, so that's essentially how it works. So if you are, okay, thank you. I'm not going to leave you yet. So it's decided. So if we go back to our active signals and we have a look, doesn't want to show me any. But you can go through, you can find neutral in buy zone. You can search for where you would like to. When they're active, it means it's headed into the buy zone. The bot will tell you the buy zone has been reached. Sometimes, you know, they just go straight through depending on the market, but normally they're within the fib levels. So that's kind of how the signals work. And it's super easy to understand, super easy to read. For obviously it's getting started in crypto, but we've got a lot of really experienced traders in there that can help you. And we've got the chat as well. So, and we've got people around the clock that are in there to help you with charts, with understanding how the market works. So no question is like too weird. We've heard them all. So yeah, so that's kind of how we work. Now I've got one last request of STBL and Francisco. If this, I've never heard of this one. If this is like straight up and straight down, I'm just going to slap you around a bit. So, all right, make a copy. STBL. Just thinking. It's this time of night, like the whole neighborhood must be on the internet. It just slows right down. Okay, Francisco. So this is a daily chart on this. It doesn't even have any indicators for me to even tell you which direction it's possibly going. Okay, if we drop it down, yeah. I'm going to be that kid in that meme that just rolls his eyes at you. So I'd say it's kind of congested in this region on the hourly. It's crossed over a couple of times on the EMAs, so it's trying hard to stay above those. So we've got a cross here, almost cross here, cross down, cross up. It's trying, but I'd say at this point, it's more bearish than bullish. I don't think on this listing they've taken enough profit. Depends on how many seed investors and what, if they've got locked tokens. If this is a project with locked tokens, and that's the disclaimer. So if seed investors have a lock on their tokens from listing for 6 months, these charts won't die. If seed investors don't have locked tokens, that's when they just bleed out, because seed investors just sell them into the market. So there's not really a lot I can do with that. On the 4 hour, it's still technically bullish because nothing's turned over. On the 2 hour, it's potentially going into a more bearish pattern. On the hourly, there's a lot of confusion. Is it up or is it down? So yeah, there's nothing I can do with that. So if you love that project, buy it, hold it, pray that it's one of the ones that survives. And, it's an awesome project that, like BNB did, went from 10 cents to $1,000. But literally, sorry. So to go back to BTC and to recap, we're in those two patterns. Coming back down, if we break that, we're coming back down to 786, which is 109. If we are breaking completely down and retesting, we're coming to 104. So keep those stop losses in place. But at the moment, we're seeing a bounce possibly coming in overnight or within the next day, because really, really low on stock indicator, and a lot of RSIs are flashing that they're about to go up. So there we go. That was a super, super long one tonight. So we're here for an hour. So if you are still here, thank you for joining me. And I will be back here next week. And of course, getting started in crypto every single day. And you get a BTC and an ETH update every day. And if you do want alts at any point, if you're in getting started in crypto, you can request those, and we try to get to all of those requests. And if you're on X or on Threads, I try to get to those when I can, and I will repost those so everyone can see them. I've got an alarm going off. I better go. Thank you for watching. Bye.